unmanned Chinese spacecraft. We'll have all the details in just a moment. Also coming up, U.S. Democrats take over the House of Representatives today, allowing them to block much of President Trump's agenda. What does that mean for Donald Trump and the current government shutdown? We'll hear from our correspondent in Washington. And shares in Apple take a tumble as sales figures show Chinese buyers losing their appetite for the iPhone. Plus, aiming for soccer glory in the Asian Cup. With the tournament just around the corner, we'll introduce you to one of its most unusual squads, with most of the team's players not born in the country they represent. Hello, I'm Terry Martin. Good to have you with us. A Chinese spacecraft has made the first successful landing ever on the far side of the moon. It's the side that can never be seen from our planet. The mission is seen as key to China's ambitions to become a space superpower. The lunar probe is equipped with a rover and measuring devices and will carry out experiments involving planting seeds. Here's more.
It's the first ever soft landing on the far side of the moon. And this probe was not sent by the US or Russia, but China. State media was proud to announce its touchdown at 10:26 Beijing time.
The whole process was as expected. The result was precise and the landing stable. The current landing location is our ideal landing place. In other words, we are right on target.
The probe is carrying instruments to map the region's geology. It is also carrying seeds for an experiment in cultivating vegetables in a closed environment. This is a first picture from the surface sent by the Chang'e 4 lunar probe. It's unexplored territory. The moon always has one side not facing us. The moon itself is an obstacle. Therefore, the back of the moon is a restricted area and a blind spot for the transmission of information between the Earth and the moon. The dark side of the moon is rather an unseen side than one lacking light. It's because the moon takes just as long to rotate on its own axis as it takes to complete one orbit of Earth. The mission is part of a larger Chinese program of lunar exploration, but the landing on the dark side is one of the country's biggest leaps forward in its space race ambitions.
Well, for more now, let's bring in Keith Cowing. He's a former rocket scientist and editor of the blog NASA Watch. Thanks for being with us this morning. First of all, what made it so difficult to land a probe on the far side of the moon? It's never been done before.
No, it hasn't, and we've done it many times on the near side of the moon because we can have direct radio contact with that because we can see that side of the moon. But on the far side is blocked from direct radio contact with the Earth. So China had to put a relay satellite around the moon so that it could see the Earth, so that the spacecraft could talk to the satellite, and the satellite would then talk to Earth. So it adds an extra layer of complexity.
Okay, so it's a bit complicated, but why is it scientifically significant? What do we learn from all this?
Well, first of all, the landing location is very interesting. It's in Von Karman crater, which is inside a larger crater called the Aitken Basin, which is a monstrous crater that's bigger than any crater on anything in our solar system. And it was so deep that when it happened, parts of the original lunar crust may have been brought up. So that's where the probe landed, and it'll be the first time anybody's landed there to take a look at it scientifically. So that's the most important thing.
Now, China did not offer a live broadcast of this event. It only announced it once it was done. Why the secrecy?
You know, I was actually on CGTN about 2 hours before it landed, and everybody assumed it was going to happen. You know, I don't